I taught myself semi-fluent Mandarin Chinese in 6 months, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 tips and methods that I used so that you can do the same. 大家好，我今天想跟你们分享一下我是如何在6个月之内自学了半流利的中文呢？好的，那话不多说了，3、2、1，我们就开始吧。So before going into tip number 1, it's important to clarify why do you want to learn Chinese. Establishing a clear goal and reason behind learning Chinese will make the learning process a lot more enjoyable and a lot quicker, as you know exactly what you'll be working towards. Making new friends, working and traveling in China, and taking exams are all great reasons to motivate you with your Chinese. So I first started learning Chinese when I was 12 years old, and at the time I was living in Singapore where there are loads of Chinese speakers. It was during the first COVID lockdowns in 2020 when I first got interested in learning Chinese, and during those 6 months it was all I did for hours and hours every day. So the Chinese speaking environment around me was my absolute motivation for learning Chinese. It was all I wanted to do, just to be able to communicate with the local people in Singapore. So whether they were taxi drivers, my Chinese neighbours, or my badminton coach, I just wanted to be able to communicate with them in Chinese and be able to have fun in Chinese as well. So today I'll be telling you the key 5 tips and methods that accelerated my learning journey, and I'll be saving the best tip until last, so stick around until the end so you don't miss out on the best tip. So tip number 1 is the absolute nightmare of all school kids. These things, textbooks. We love them and we hate them. Or I think all of us pretty much hate them, to be honest. But anyways, I know, as boring as they might seem, but textbooks actually played a really key role in improving my Chinese quickly. So in 6 months, I went through 3 textbooks, and each one containing hundreds of new words. So textbooks are fantastic because they build up your vocabulary base, and they're structured in such a way so that you keep on improving and stepping up the levels. So the books that I recalled were Easy Steps to Chinese, or 轻松学中文. And these books are really quite colourful and interactive, which makes actually using them a lot more enjoyable than some other textbooks that I've used in the past, where they're just dull textbooks with just text and nothing else. But these ones actually have pictures and illustrations, and they're a lot more interactive. So yeah, I highly recommend these textbooks. By the way, all of the resources that I mentioned in this video, I'll be linking in the description box below, so you can go and check them out for yourselves. So textbooks are fantastic for beginners in particular, as they teach you the basics and they also help you gain a lot of confidence in the language. So tip number 2 is talking with native speakers, and this is absolutely crucial if you want to drastically improve your Chinese. So during those 6 months, I would go and talk with my Chinese neighbours every single day. They lived in the apartment below and they had 2 young kids, so every day I would go swimming with them, or I would play games, or I would even play badminton with them as well. And obviously at the same time I would be talking in Chinese for the whole time, and obviously improving my listening and speaking skills in Chinese. So apart from this, I would also talk with their parents on pretty much a daily basis, and would just have, daily conversations. And this was so great for me to improve my listening skills as well, but also to gain a lot of confidence in the language really quickly just by talking with native speakers. So I know it might be scary, but go out there and force yourself to talk with a Chinese person, and you can even show off some of your newly learned vocab from your textbook. Chinese people are absolutely going to love it, and they have some of the most amazing reactions when it comes to learning languages. So it's definitely worthwhile learning a few words in Chinese to get those crazy reactions. So you could even go down to your local Chinese takeout and impress the owners with your culinary knowledge in Chinese, just like I did when I went down to my local wok star. So if you don't know any Chinese people, or you can't find any Chinese people, then the next best thing is to do an online language exchange. So there's loads of websites out there where you can do this. One in particular that I quite like is language.exchange. Again, I'll link this in the description box below so you can go and check it out for yourself. And this is great where you can find like a pen pal, or you can just practice, speaking skills with someone in China. But obviously you will also have to help them potentially with your English or any other languages that you speak. So there are also some platforms that offer one-on-one classes with an actual teacher for a really reasonable rate, and one that I really like is called italki. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this platform before, but you can literally find teachers for $10 or $15 per class, and in this way you'll actually be getting proper conversation practice with a teacher, and it'll be a lot more structured, and for a lot of people this is a much safer environment to practice their language skills as well, as they're with a teacher and it's a lot more comfortable than potentially being out there with a group of Chinese people. So yeah, that's a great option, italki or language.exchange. So tip number 3 is children's books and graded readers. So you want to make the language learning journey as fun as possible, and a great way of doing this is by reading engaging and interactive children's books in Chinese. Although you're all probably adults watching this video right now and probably thinking, oh, children's books are so dull, they're so boring, why would I want to read them? Actually, children's books in Chinese are fantastic because they help emulate the language learning process of Chinese kids, which means that you're going to be able to build up your level in Chinese just like Chinese kids have done for themselves, and therefore you'll improve a lot quicker in the language. They are really easy material to read as there are no hard concepts to grasp, and some of them even have illustrations in them as well, which make them a lot more easy to understand, and also they help you expand your vocab even more. So the books that I used were called Mi Xiao Quan Shang Xue Ji, which translates to literally the school diary of Mi Xiao Quan, who is this little boy in China. So Mi Xiao Quan is a 16-book series which covers the first 4 years of Mi Xiao Quan's school life, from 1st to 4th grade. So this has been one of the most popular kids book series in China, and it has now even been made into an actual TV series. So now you can read the books and also watch the TV series at the same time for even more reinforced learning. So Mi Xiao Quan is actually a comedy series, and it's filled with loads of childlike humor throughout, and also there's loads of repetition of certain words, which makes remembering them super easy, as you'll see the same words appearing throughout this book series, and this is great for long-term memory as well. So the Mi Xiao Quan books also come with pinyin and Chinese characters, which makes searching for new words in a dictionary a lot easier. So I went through most of this book series in those 6 months, and it played a key role in improving my Chinese. So another fantastic option is the Chinese graded reader series. So there are 6 books in this graded reader series, starting from the easiest to the hardest. So the first book contains stories that use the 500 most commonly used words in Chinese, and then with each new book in the series, another 500 words are added. So by the time you get to the last book in the series, which is book number 6, this one here, you will have learned the 3,000 most commonly used words in Chinese. So these books are great as they've got loads of interesting stories, they have pinyin and characters, and they're perfect if you're looking to take the HSK exams, which stands for Hanyu Shuiping Kaoshi, or the literally translates to Chinese fluency exam. Plus they also come with this nifty little CD so that you can listen to the stories and obviously as well get more listening practice. So tip number 4 is writing a diary in Chinese. So one of the methods that helped me the most was writing a diary in Chinese every single evening. So writing a diary is great as you get to write about all of the things that you've done in your day, and this means that you have to use all of the vocab that you already know to express what you've done in the day, but also it means that if you don't know how to say something, then you have to look it up in a dictionary, and obviously this means that naturally you're going to learn a lot more vocab just by writing a diary. So unless you're some crazy adventurer or traveller going to exotic places all the time, I can guarantee you that the majority of people do the same job every day and have pretty much the same daily routine. This means that when you're writing your diary, you'll be writing practically about the same thing every day, and therefore using the same vocab over and over again. This is absolutely fantastic for long-term memory, and it means that you'll become really fluent in the most commonly used day-to-day words. So to step it up a notch and make it a bit more interesting, what you could do is write about more in-depth topics in your diary. So once you've mastered writing about your daily routine and the job that you do, and what you eat for lunch, all of those things, you can start talking about more in-depth topics. So for example, instead of just saying, I ate pizza for lunch, you could say, why do you like pizza? What are the ingredients in pizza? Where does it originate from? And actually try explaining it in a bit more depth. And this is great because it means that you're going to learn a lot more vocab from doing this. So a great free resource that I've used throughout my Chinese learning journey has been Pleco, which is a great online dictionary where you can search words in Chinese and in English, and it gives you loads of sentence examples, it gives you pronunciation tips, it gives you stroke order, it gives you absolutely everything you need to know. So this is a top resource that I'd recommend for anyone learning Chinese, and again, I'll leave the description in the link below, and you can get it completely for free, and this has been an absolute lifesaver for me. So finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the best tip of them all. which is listening to podcasts and watching TV series in Chinese. For me, this has got to be the funnest way to learn Chinese and probably the most effective as well. So podcasts are fantastic for learning any language, and now thanks to the abundance of online resources, you can find podcasts ranging from any levels, from beginner to advanced, and talking about any topic or subject matter that you want. In Singapore, I would listen to podcasts for hours and hours every single day, and my go-to podcast was Mandarin Corner. It was my absolute favorite because it has subtitles in Chinese characters, pinyin, and also in English. The audio is extremely clear, and they talk about topics, ranging from cultural trends in China, history, kung fu, setting up a business, learning languages, absolutely anything. So this is a really great resource that you can use for free. They have their own YouTube channel where you can watch all of the videos for free, and they also have their own online website where you can access more premium content if you want to, such as courses. I know they specialize more in the HSK courses now, where you can pay for a subscription and you get premium access to this content. So I would highly recommend Mandarin Corner. Podcasts are great for comprehensible input as long as you find the right level for you. I would say being able to understand anywhere from about 50% and above of a podcast is around the right level, as you won't get frustrated while listening to the podcast, and you'll actually be able to enjoy it at the same time as learning, new vocab and improving your listening skills. Watching TV series is also a fantastic way of learning any language. Even though you may not be able to understand everything that they're saying, just by watching the TV series, you'll be able to get a general gist of what's going on. I know people who have literally become fluent in a language just by watching movies and TV series with subtitles. You can go through word by word, writing them all down, and then re-watch the TV series all over again so that you can memorize the vocab better. So I'm sure that you have all heard about language learning with Netflix by now. It's as simple as just going into your Netflix account and changing the language settings to Chinese or to any language that you want to learn, and from then on you can just watch, your favorite TV series or movies or anything you want, all in Chinese or your target language. Podcasts and TV shows are great for getting more cultural exposure, as you get to learn about customs and traditions and the culture at the same time as learning the language, so it's a win-win. Also, I'll be linking some Chinese TV series in the description below. So those are the top 5 methods that helped me achieve semi-fluency in Chinese in 6 months. I did spend hours and hours every day learning Chinese, so obviously the more time you spend, the quicker you will learn. However, you do not need to go crazy and spend 8 hours a day like I did. Consistency is king here, so it'd be much better to spend 30 minutes every single day learning Chinese versus spending 4 or 8 hours a day once a week learning Chinese, as this will be a lot more sustainable in the long run. So try and integrate Chinese into your daily routine. For example, listen to a podcast while commuting to work. Obviously, not everyone has hours and hours every day to sit down and study, but finding little ways to integrate Chinese into your life will speed up your learning a lot. You can do it. 加油! Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, then please like, subscribe and comment down below. And if you want to see what my Chinese is like now and how helpful these methods have been, then click to watch this video here where it's completely in Chinese.